Hello and welcome back to my channel and happy November! The last week or so we have finally been getting into colder weather. So, a couple weeks ago I pulled down my winter clothes and I started washing them and getting everything ready. Yesterday I packed up my summer clothes and today we're back to almost the 80s. So at some point we'll get our cooler weather, but I just love this time of year. Usually October and November just feels very cozy to me. It just feels like nature is giving a hug. So I am excited to be getting into the season of not only with the weather changes, but just a season of life too, of just embracing calmness, embracing taking a step back and reassessing what I need in this season of life. So today is my October reading wrap up. This will probably be another relatively short video similar to my wrap up last month. If you saw my video last month, I kind of explained why I have not been doing as much reading lately, and that is still the case in October. But I did compile some stats this time, so here are my stats from October. In October, I read 4 books for a total of 1,796 pages. The longest book I read was 517 pages, and that is The Once and Future Witches. And the shortest book was 406 pages, and that was Throne of Glass. 2 books I read were hard copies, and 2 were audiobooks. 2 books I got from the library or Libby, and 2 I purchased. Both of them I purchased used from Pango Books. I love Pango Books. It is a great way to buy books, but to be paying actual people and not big organizations if you don't necessarily want to. With the 2 books that I got from the library, I saved about $40.24. 2 of the books that I read were published in 2025. 1 was published in 2023, and 1 was published in 2020. And I did not create the author map this time because that just takes a lot of work. So I am going to hopefully get back to that maybe next month, maybe next year. We'll see. Hopefully I will get back to that at some point though. So for some highlights, I will just talk in brief about a couple of the books. The first one being The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. This is the book I started last October or last September, sometime in the fall last year, and I read about half of it. I was enjoying it, but for some reason I just was not compelled to continue, so I picked it back up this month and I finished it. I did enjoy it. It is a book about 3 sisters, and at the opening of the book, something happened where we can tell they still care about each other, but there was a rift of some sort where they are not on speaking terms. There's Beatrice, Agnes, and Juniper. It takes place in the late 1800s. It's supposed to be set in the United States, but kind of a different alternate United States. The suffragette movement is going on with women trying to get the right to vote. There is also the magical and witchcraft and witch aspect of the story. The sisters end up coming back together again when a spell brings them back to New Salem and they reconnect. A lot of things kind of happen. They each are embarking on their own paths and directions. They have their own stories and plot points, and they're also trying to restore magic. A lot of magic has been passed down through the generations through things like folktales and nursery rhymes. So they are unpacking these nursery rhymes, trying to reclaim the words that have been passed down and restore New Salem to what it used to be. But of course, there are people who are against the suffragette movement. There are people who are wildly against witchcraft and anyone who is even remotely close to being associated with witchcraft. If you have watched my channel for long, you know that some of my favorite themes in a book are women empowerment, found friendship, and things of that nature. So this book does have that. I didn't necessarily connect with all of the plot points in this book, but overall it was enjoyable, it was relatively easy to read, and it kind of hit the spot that I needed it to, especially this year in finishing it. I just needed something relatively light and easy and also giving me a lot of those themes that I really enjoy. I like that in the story there was a lot of the just fun, magical elements of the story, but there were also some deeper topics like misogyny and racism and LGBTQ+ representation, and I really enjoyed those aspects as well. I also read the first book in the Throne of Glass series, and it is indeed called Throne of Glass. I enjoyed it. I think, again, it's what I kind of needed in that moment. It was light, it was easy to read. I listened to most of it on audio, and I think just having something engaging that was not too deep was what I needed. It is about a young girl named Selena who has been imprisoned for a number of years. Through a series of events, she ends up being freed from the prison and she is brought to the castle, the Glass Castle, where she has to do a series of training exercises and then competing in tasks to determine who will be the winner to become the king's assassin. So throughout the book, she is training, she is competing, she is finding out that some other competitors are being killed off somehow. Something's really shady about another competitor. Things don't seem to be adding up. She seems to be connecting to a long deceased queen from the realm, and she's trying to piece everything together to figure out how to stay alive in this competition in order to win and become the king's assassin in order to secure her freedom and not go back to prison. When I finished that book, I got in line at the library for the second book. I believe it's Crown, I don't have it up here, Crown of Midnight. And it ended up coming up sooner than expected from the library. So I do actually have a copy now, and I have been reading it while listening to the audiobook at the same time, because I feel like, especially if I am in a reading slump or not reading as much, it can help to do both. So we will see how quickly I make it through that book. So yes, another quick wrap up. I know I didn't talk about very many books or go very deep into the books. None of them were necessarily like massive standouts or a recommendation that everybody needs to go read, but I wanted to do a quick wrap up anyways and go from there. So let me know in the comments, what was your favorite book from October? I would love to hear some of the key highlights. So until next time, happy reading.